Hello friends, the next iterative statement in core Java programming series is a for loop, which is most commonly used by all the programmers around the world, right? So before coming into for, we have already completed one iterative statement, that is while, and we have clearly discussed what is the best situation we should pick while, and we have also seen what is the syntax for while, and we have seen the all the format, all the aspects of while in detail, right? So the next important loop, as I said earlier, the most commonly used loop is for loop, right? You can say this is programmer 7. If you ask a programmer to use a loop, immediately the programmer is going for loop. So this is a normal practice. This is a very normal practice for all the programmers. But there are chances we can say where for is best applicable and where while is best applicable. Whenever we are covering while, one thing we have I have also discussed with you, when while is best applicable, when the programmer don't have any idea about the number of iterations in advance. So this is the time when we are going for this while loop. But in for loop, the reverse case, if we know the number of iterations well in advance, the best loop to pick with is a for loop. So this is a loop which is, you can say, very commonly used and very popular also, very commonly used loop, right? And as I said, when we should pick up, when the programmer, or you can say when you require a fixed iteration loop, then you should pick this particular for loop, right? So this is where for loop is used. But the behavior of both these, like the behavior of while and the behavior of for, both are same in terms of working. Almost both are at par. This particular loop will execute statements up to certain condition is false. Similarly, for is also doing that. So these two have the capacity to execute a particular block of statement up to certain period of time, right? That purely depends upon what are the conditions we have specified. Now let's talk about exclusively for, right? Now, before getting into anything, let us understand what is the syntax of for, then we'll go through one by one. The syntax is very simple. We'll start with for, followed by three. We have three sections actually. First section we can call this, let's say this is expression 1, second one is expression 2, and third one is expression 3, right? And the body is present within curly braces. So this is the normal syntax of any for loop, and we will see in detail what exactly expression 1 is, expression 2 is, and 3 is, how they are related to each other or they are independent of each other, which of the person is optional, we'll look in detail. But before getting into anything, let us just understand how this for loop basically worked out, right? So are you all in a position to go with this for loop? Okay. Now, before getting into this particular one, make sure you have completed that while loop or you have some idea about looping so that you can understand it in a better way. Fine. Okay. So if it to be speaking very honestly, to be speaking very frankly, if you follow the books of core Java, if you follow follow some resources available in internet, you will find this expression is maximum all the areas you find this expression is replaced with initialization. Maximum time you will see this is initialization, the second one is condition, and the third one is increment or decrement, right? I repeat, the first one they always say this is a section called as initialization or declaration section. Second section is called as conditional section, and the third section is always called as increment or decrement section. These three are absolutely fine. These three are recommended actually. But why I have mentioned expression 1, 2, and 3? There is a small twist, but I don't want you to miss any twist of for loop, right? So let us understand what exactly the behavior of this one. So let us go through one by one. See, as I have just shared with you, expression 1 is basically called as initialization. Initialization or declaration. Right. Remember, this particular section will be executed maximum, not maximum. Maximum is exactly the wrong word to use here. Exactly once. Even if this is a looping statement, but the first expression in a for loop will be executed exactly once, not more than that. Keep this particular thing in mind. We will discuss later on. Next, how the other things will go on. As I'm sharing with you, expression 2, we are calling this one. We normally call this as condition. And the third one, expression 3, we normally call this as increment or decrement. Increment or decrement, right? Okay. Now, let's see how this one behaves. So, let me go one by one. Step 1. In step 1, which one will be evaluated? Of course, expression 1 will be evaluated first. This is the first step. Second step, immediately after expression 1 is evaluated, expression 2 will be evaluated. Second line, second step. If expression 2, I repeat, if expression 2 evaluated to true, if expression 2 is evaluated to true, immediately the statements present within the curly braces of the for loop will be getting executed one after another till the last statement of for. Once this is over, immediately I'll go back to expression 3, that is step number 4. Immediately after step number 4, again expression 2 will be evaluated, and this after this will be goes on and on and on till this expression 2 will be evaluated to false. Right? So this is the way the for loop behaves. So in the entire course of for loop, entire course of iteration, one thing you have to keep always in mind, expression 1 will be evaluated only exactly once in lifetime. Then at second step, condition will be evaluated. Then if it is true, statements will be evaluated. After statements are getting over, again, yes, increment or decrement or expression 3 is going to be evaluated. After then again the condition will be checked. Again the statement will be continued like this. This will again go on and on and on till expression 2 evaluated to false. This is the story of definitely a for loop, right? Okay. Now here I just want to add one point. The body of the for loop is enclosed within curly braces, but again this is optional. Again this is optional. If no curly bracket is there after for loop, what is going to happen? One statement is allowed inside the for loop, and that should not be, the same rule applies here, that should not be a declarative statement. Let us start with a simple example, then we'll go through. Let's start with a simple example. Suppose I am writing a loop like for int I equals to 0 followed by I less than equals to 9 and I plus plus. Suppose I am writing something like this, and here system.out.println followed by I. This is as simple as this. What is going to happen? As per the discussion, the first one will be evaluated first. It will be 0. The value of I will be 0. Again, since the condition is true, which one will be getting printed? 0 will be getting printed. Then I will be incremented to 1. Again, the condition is true. Again, 1 will be printed. So now what will happen? 0 to 9 will be printed. When the value will be 10, it will be come out of the loop. So this is how the loop is behaving actually. Now, since there is one statement, what I can do? I can replace this to the same thing, because for is allowing only one statement and I have written 1. But in case of this one, if I am trying to write int a, immediately your compiler will raise an error message. Keep this in mind. This is valid for while, this is valid for if also. If you are not enclosing the body of the control flow statement within curly braces, if you are not specifying that one, only one statement is allowed, and that statement cannot be a which kind of statement? Declarative statement. You cannot write a declarative statement as a single statement in any loop. Please keep that in mind, right? So let us go through one by one what exactly expression 1 is, what exactly expression 2 is. We'll go through, yes, one by one, right? Okay, now let's talk about expression 1. As we have mentioned, this part is called as initialization part or declaration part. Basically, the declaration of variable, initialization of variable is basically done here. This is also recommended, right? And as we have mentioned, this will be executed only once, not more than that, not less than that. 100% pakka, this will be evaluated exactly once. Now, let's come down to the third one. Like if I'll say this particular part is optional. You heard it right, this is optional. If I don't want, I can skip this part also. That will be a different story. What I'll get as an output, that's a different story altogether. But you can skip this part if you require. Right? Number 4. Now, do you really think this only initialization or declaration is allowed here? No. You can write, yes, you can write, listen very carefully about the statement. You can use any valid Java expression here. This is one part. Not only that, what we can do, we can also able to write any valid Java expression or statement. We can also write that. Right? Make sure you understand this point. And whenever you are declaring a variable, we can also go for multiple variable declaration. But make sure they belongs to same type. Don't worry, we will see each and individual line will definitely execute to all these lines. We'll see all these lines holds good, right? Don't worry. As I said, you don't have to trust me, you don't have to believe on my words. Only you need to believe your compiler. We'll see this, don't worry. Let us understand what exactly what I am trying to say. In line number 5, as you know, in the previous example, when I am writing for int I equals to 0 followed by I less than equals to 10 and I plus plus, whenever I am writing this, so what is going to happen? I am declaring only one variable, but at the same time, if you want, we can go for multiple declaration also. But make sure both I and j should be of same type. Int I comma j, this is absolutely valid, no problem in that. But by mistake, if I am writing instead of this j, if I am writing suppose byte, immediately my compiler will give me an error message. 100% my compiler will going to give me an error message. Let us cross check this one, then we'll go to the second expression. Before going to that, let us summarize this one. What expression 1 should be? Expression 1 is basically holding the initialization part. It will be executed only once. This part is purely optional, and what we can use any valid Java expression or statement there. And if you want, we can declare multiple variable here, but all the variable that we want to declare should have same type, otherwise we'll definitely raise an error. Let us move through that. So let us go one by one. So let us go through simplest of simple example first. Let's see how it performed. then we'll go for the twist and tails and twist. I, as you know, we are discussing this particular thing will print from 0 to 10, right? We have already discussed this point, because the first part, this one will be evaluated, it will be 0 and the condition will be true, so 0 will be getting printed. After this line is over, again it will go back to I plus plus, where 0 becomes 1. Again the condition will be true, followed by 1 will be printed, and this particular loop will go on and on and on till it reaches to 10, right? Okay, let us execute this particular program, then we can see. Let us compile this. Java C test.java. Test.java. Immediately my compiler will say, I don't have any problem. You go with, no, it has some problem. The problem is I have not declared that variable. We can go for this. No problem. Sorry. Now that's fine. Now we can, what we can do, we can execute the program. Immediately the answer is from 0 to 10. Done? Okay. Now let us see the tails and twist. Suppose I am declaring this particular statement just above the for loop. That's fine. Absolutely fine. So now what I can do, as we are discussing, the first part is optional, but remember, even if the first part is optional, you have to put that semicolon. One thing is mandate, for should contain 2 semicolon within the parenthesis. That is mandate. Otherwise error will be 100% there. Fine, you can skip sections, but semicolon should be there. 2 semicolons should be there. Now if I am writing this kind of program, again similar result, no problem at all. Compiler compiles it fine, so also a Java interpreter, so no problem in that. Now let us see whether all other Java expressions can be written here or not, right? So let's go with, I am writing here system.out.println start of loop. Now tell me what is going to happen. As per our discussion, the first expression 1 will be evaluated only once. So that means whenever you are entering into the for loop, immediately start of loop will be printed, because this is the first statement. Then condition will be evaluated. What is the value of I? Value of I is 0 here. Now this condition will be evaluated to true, right? Since it is true, this particular statement will be printed. So value of I will be 0. So after the first line start of loop, 0 will be printed. Again I will be getting for incrementing as 1, so 1, 2 up to 10. So the first line will be printed for how many times? 1 time only. Let us see whether this one is valid with the compiler or not. So as per the discussion, it should be valid. There should not be any error. See the output. The output says start of the loop at the first time, then normal 0 to 10. So this is a proof that the first line of statement is definitely executed for how many times? Exactly 1 time. I hope you all are clear about this, right? Now about multiple declaration, you can also do that. I'm just leaving this one to you. You need to check that one, so that you can go for this. Instead of writing this, what we can do, we can go for int I equals to 0, j equals to 7. So what we can do, we can go for print I, even we can go for print I followed by j also. See, we can go for both of them, no problem in that. Compile the program compiles fine, execute the program. See, 0, 7, 1, 7, each time 0 is printed. This is the value of I, again value of j, again value of I, value of j, right? So all the statements that we have written here all stands valid, executed only once, part is optional. We have also seen that we can have any valid Java expression. If you can remember, we have used system.out.print hello. We have also checked this one. Followed by, we can go for multiple variable declaration, but that is only of same type. By mistake, if you are declaring anything else, suppose here I am writing float float f. Now immediately you know what your compiler will do. Compiler will give you 100% error. What is that? Identifier expected, parenthesis need to be closed, so lot of errors are there. So the conclusion is we should use similar kind of declaration. So expression 1 is over. Come down to expression 2. Again the same story. Expression 2 is optional and this is independent of the first expression. I repeat, this is independent of the first expression. Second, how many times it will be going executed? It will be executed till it evaluates to false. Once it is false, it will be stop executing. Otherwise, it will goes on evaluating itself on and on and on, right? Okay. Now what it should be? Remember, you can use expression, you can use constant, you can use anything else, but remember the result of this expression, the result of this constant should be a Boolean type. Any other type if you write by mistake, definitely you will get an error message because expression 2 should result me in Boolean. That is the only thing you need to be very sure. Otherwise your loop, your compiler will definitely give you an error message, right? Now here you can ask me a question, sir, here you have said this part is optional. Secondly, you say the expression and the constant should result in the Boolean type. That means if in a for loop I have written the first part, but I have skipped the second one, right? Definitely there should be some value. Otherwise, if I am not specifying anything, we know either null will be replaced or anything else will be replaced. As far as our knowledge is concerned, null is not Boolean type. So the question is, if it is optional and if the result of the expression 2 should always be a Boolean type, then what is the default value of that expression 2 if it is not specified? I repeat that question. If I am not specifying expression 2 to any condition, if I am leaving it blank, what will be the default value assigned and who is responsible for that? You please keep this particular thing in mind. The default value will be true if no expressions are specified. So the default value will be true. And who is responsible for that? Java compiler will responsible for that. The default value for expression 2 will be true, and this will be assigned by Java compiler, right? So this is the story of expression 2, right? Next, come down to expression 3. Again, this part is also optional. This part is also optional. Number 2, recommended what this part should contain, either increment or decrement, that we are just discussing. That doesn't mean this is mandate. Increment or decrement, that doesn't mean it is mandate it should be increment or decrement. No, it could be any valid expression. It could be any valid Java expression. Doesn't matter, it will produce an integer value, it will produce a Boolean value, whatever. It should be valid Java statement. Got my point? Now, 3 sections we have discussed. In each of the 3 sections, what we are writing? We are writing a common statement. Expression 1 is optional. Now here in the second case we said expression 2 is optional. In the third case expression 3 is optional. So what is the note we can do? We can write here all the 3 sections. All the 3 sections are, yes, optional and also independent of each other. No one is dependent on the other. Make sure you understand this point, right? And few conclusions we have already made. We'll also look into that. Don't worry, because we have already discussed in while. I don't want to repeat it. We will just see that hands-on activity. Now let us work on this. Yes, all the 3 sections are optional and They are independent of each other, but at the same time you should remember for loop should contain two semicolons within parenthesis. This is mandate. Even if you are specifying all the sections, even if you are not specifying, but two loops, two semicolons should be there. So let us cross check this one by one, then we'll see different cases of for and how it reacts into that, right? We'll go through. So let's get back to the program and we'll see to that. Now, as you can see, if you are writing something like this, no problem at all. Expression 2, as per the discussion, expression 2 is evaluating either true or false, because you know the output of any relational statement is a Boolean type. So as per the discussion, expression 2 is a Boolean type. So with this program, don't have any problem, right? Don't have any problem. But if you want to cross check, if I'm writing only I, this is valid in C, but in C plus in Java, it is completely not valid. You know, I is of type integer, which is not allowed in expression 2. You can cross check here. Int cannot be converted into Boolean incompatible types. In which one? This particular one. So it is clear that expression 2 definitely should be a Boolean value, right? Okay. Now this part we have already discussed. Now let us see if I am not writing this one. I repeat, if I am not writing this one, as per the discussion, what will be replaced here? What will be replaced here? Definitely a value called as true, which is a compile time Boolean constant, will be replaced here. And if it is true, if it is a constant true, this particular value will be true forever. That means we are entering into an infinite loop. I think this is pretty clear to all of you. If you want to cross check, you can execute this particular program and you can see what is going to happen. Let us compile this program. Compiler says no problem at all. See, now it goes on and on and on. We need to break. We are breaking that one. Got my point? So confirm. What is confirm? If I am not specifying anything in the expression 2 part, the default value will be true. I can also write true and will also get the same result, no problem at all. But even if I don't write true, compiler will automatically put true value in that, right? You cannot write anything except a Boolean value. Suppose I am writing a false value. I am writing a false value here. See, allowed, false is a valid Boolean constant. It is allowed, no problem with that. Now, let us analyze what is going to happen. Step 1, this will be evaluated first. Step 2, it will be evaluated. What is going to happen? Now, false is a compile time constant. Compiler can sense false. If it is a false, this particular statement will never get executed in its lifetime, right? So compiler immediately say, boss, if you are writing false here, why you have written the statement which is not going to be executed in its lifetime? So immediately compiler will warn you by producing an error. That error is called as code unreachable. We have also seen this one in while. Unreachable statement in which line? Line number 7. I have 100 times I have told you in Java the error is neatly defined. Can you look at line number 7? Right. Since this is false, this particular statement will come out of the loop. So there will be no chance that this will be executed. Right. But look at here. Suppose I am writing integer, or I am writing here integer I equals to 0. If I am writing I will be greater than equals to 20. You know, whenever I am writing I equals to greater than equal to 20, you know, if I start I from 0, first time it will be evaluated, second time it will say false. That means the same story will happen. But here one difference is there. This particular statement, since I is not a compile time constant or not a direct constant, it will only replace with value at runtime by your JVM, not at the compiler time. That's why you won't get any compiler error. If it is a constant, compiler can sense. If it is a variable, compiler cannot able to sense. See, if you compile this one, no problem at all. Compiler will say I'm fine. But definitely we are not going to get any output, because once this will be false, it will not definitely execute, right? Okay. So that part, I think this particular part we have also discussed in while, so I don't want to repeat it for one more time. Now come to the third section. In the third section, what we have done, incremented part. Now it's doing good. If instead of increment, what I am doing, I am writing here system.out.println. Suppose I am writing here loop. Now let's see what is going to happen. Before getting into that, let us run it and let's understand what is going to happen. Suppose I am writing here I is less than equal to 5. I am not going for 10. Now, first thing is first, this one will be evaluated I is equal to 0, 100% sure. Now, this will be true because 1 is less than equal to 5. This will be true. Immediately, which one will be executed? This particular one will be executed, means 0 will be printed. Now, value of 1 I will be 1. Immediately after this, this particular expression 3 will be evaluated. Expression 3 says loop. So after 0, definitely loop is going to be printed. Then condition will be checked. That will be 1 less than equal to 5, true. So I 1 will be getting printed. Similarly, this will be again 2. Again it will come down to expression 3. Again loop will be printed. This story continues till 5 is printed. Right? I hope you could able to understand this particular point. Now let us see, compile first, whether it says any compilation error or not. No compilation error. I think I have not saved this program. Yes, I have not saved this program. Compile the program, execute the program. See, 0 followed by loop, 1 followed by loop, 2 followed by loop, like that. So no problem at all. Expression 3 can be any valid Java statement. We have proved that one, right? And we have proved each and every section of while. Now let us see some conclusion parts. We'll go with this. As you know, if I am writing this, definitely what I'm going to get, I'm going to get normal loop, I think 0 to 5. Yeah, 0 to 5, right? Now what will happen if I'm putting a semicolon here? Now I will say definitely, sir, this is an error. I can't do that. No, this is not an error. This is completely valid, because you know semicolon is a valid Java statement. Semicolon is a valid Java statement. You can happily write this one. So what this particular one means you have a for loop without any body. I'm sorry. We have a for loop without any body, right? So what is going to happen? What is going to happen? Value of I will be getting printed. So the value of I will be how much? Because this particular loop will be terminated only if value of I is 6. See, value of I will be 0, condition will be true. Value of I will be 1, condition will be true. Again 2, same. 3, same. 4, same. 5, same. Once it will be 6, definitely 6 less than equal to 5, this will be getting false, right? Immediately it will coming out of the loop. Once it will coming out of the loop, the value of I becomes 6, right? Please respond to yourself. The value will be 6, isn't it? Yes, the value will be 6, but the value will not be 6. Right? Listen very carefully. Here int I is a local variable. So while evaluating the output, make sure you have all the things with you. We have clearly discussed about the local variable, instance variable and static variable. The scope of local variable is within the block it is defined, and where I is defined in this for loop only, which is terminated here only. So int I will be not visible here. So it will say undefined symbol I, because Yes, because I is a local variable, right? Let us see. Let us see whether the things that we are discussing is exactly the same way or any different thing. Whenever you are compiling the things, make sure you think like a compiler. Otherwise, see what it says. Cannot find symbol. Which symbol I? Because I is a local variable. Symbol variable I, location is class test. Everything is very neatly defined. All the error message and everything is very neatly defined. But once I remove this, no problem at all. Otherwise, if I declare that I, suppose I am declaring here itself, int I is equal to 0. No problem at all. Now we will definitely going to get 6 because I is not a local variable to that block. I is 6 now. You can see I is defined within this curly braces. Within this particular method. Which method? Main method. Now scope of I is within this. If I try to print the value of I after this method, definitely I am going to get an error message. Right? I think you could able to understand the scope of local. Make sure you know this. Now the next story. I have clearly discussed that this part is optional. Suppose I am writing something like this. What is going to happen? So this leads to one more error, because you know whenever we are declaring a local variables are not initialized automatically, and the rule is if we want to use any local variable, that should be initialized before use. So whenever I am using I less than equal to 5, my question is whether I is initialized. The answer is no. So immediately your compiler will throw that exactly that same error. Which kind of error? It will say I should be initialized before use. See what it says? I might not have been initialized before using it. So all these parts you need to take care of. All these parts you need to take care of very thoroughly, right? Okay. Now let's say I have written you have written I equals to 0 and all, no problem. And if I'm not using this particular bracket, and if instead of this, if I'm writing int k is equal to 10, one statement, and that statement could not be a declarative statement. See, variable declaration is not allowed here. But let me tell you the interesting part. If at the same time, if I'm writing this, compiler say no problem, I am okay with that, right? And the reason we have already discussed. If you have missed, I will urge you, please go back to the if else section. There we have discussed very thoroughly why one declarative statement is not allowed here. We have discussed that one. I don't want to stretch it for more time, right? Okay, now these are all the scenarios we have discussed, all the scenarios, right? Only one thing I need to tell you here. The code unreachable is only applicable to loops, not into if. Keep that in mind. Please keep that in mind. So we have discussed even all the aspects of for. One last thing I want to share with you. We have seen all these three parts are optional, right? Suppose I am writing like this, but two semicolons must be there. So can you tell me what will be the output of this program? What will be the output of this program? Now the question is how it will evaluate. We know expression 1 is blank, expression 2 we have not specified, expression 3 is blank. But even if we are not writing expression 2, what is the default value of expression 2? Expression 2 will be taken as the default value true. We have discussed this one and seen that one. That means this particular loop will be evaluating to 0, 0, 0 up to how many times? Infinity times. This is called as infinite loop. I hope you all could able to run this program by yourself without the help of Java compiler. You could able to run in your mind, right? See 0, 0, 0, 0, it will go on and on and on uninterruptedly, right? So This is what exactly for loop is. We have discussed everything in detail. When it can be used, when you know the total number of expression in advance for is the best loop. In for all the sections are optional, and we have discussed which section should contain which one. See, it is always recommended expression 1 should be a declarative and initialization statement. Expression 3 should be an increment or decrement. That doesn't mean it is mandate. So while appearing for the interview, they can ask you simple questions, they can make you confused, but if you know the basics, you can easily answer all these questions without any problem. Got that point? Okay, so this is all about for loop. In the next video, we'll all concentrate on two more loops. One is for each and the second one is a post test loop, right? Till then, take care and bye-bye. Thank you for watching.